Let's talk about the 2021 Maserati Levante Trofeo as it appears in the crew tube. It is an SUV that has a Ferrari-built engine and is built as a sports car. It is also the first SUV that Maserati decided to build. It is an attempt to capture the market of the sport car enthusiast but who has responsibilities. And when it comes to it, it behaves a lot like a sports car. Well, let's look at the statistics in the game. It starts off at 213 performance level, which translates into 302 km an hour top speed and 580 brake horsepower. In the game, it could be upgraded to 280 performance level, at which we get 370 km an hour top speed, 971 brake horsepower, from 0 to 100 km an hour in 2.33 seconds, quarter mile in 9.5 seconds. We got 1.21 lateral Gs, and the brake distance for 100 km to 0 is 15.87 meters. And of course, the parts will give us some other bonuses, as you can see. Now, how does that all translate in the game? Well, let's go to the Minion Forceberg number 7 race to show you the performance of the car. This race has plenty of turns and some straights, and it is a good way to show the speed and grip that the car provides. From the very start, I'd like to point out that I'm not using nitro to speed up. The power of the engine is enough for me to just go ahead and get to the 6th gear here without any issues. The car has 8 gears, it's an automatic transmission system where you can also manually switch gears if you need to. I will be using the fact that I can shift down so I can actually get into the turns much better. Generally I will be going on the 6th gear, sometimes going into the 7th and sometimes dropping to the 5th if necessary. Now you're gonna see a ghost of Mazda Miata MX-5 there, and I'll be trying to kind of beat the ghost, but I will never be able to beat the ghost as I will be going through the turns here. We are going on the 6th right now gear to through all the turns right now. I'm trying to keep my RPMs high so that as soon as I get through the last 2 turns I can speed up and get to the 7th gear here. So here we are, we begin to speed up as quickly as we can. Sadly I cannot get to the 7th gear because more turns are coming up. I have to lift up here in order to make it in these turns. If I don't lift up, I will be hitting the sides. So here we are now finally getting into the 7th gear here thanks to nitro. But then I have to drop to the 6th in order to start to slow down, in order to go into these turns. That's the issue with this car. It's a lot of weight that this car has. As a result, when I'm trying to get into the turns, the car drifts a lot. So in order to not to drift off into the boards, I do have to drop a lot of speed. And here I was using nitro again in order to try to catch up to the ghost, but I'm not gonna be successful in catching up to the ghost. I will be keeping here in the 6th gear for the next several turns. This car is supposed to have an all-wheel drive system where rear wheels are usually working, but the front wheels will kick in whenever it's necessary. Sadly, it doesn't feel that way. In the game, it feels that the car is always driving on the rear wheel drive. As a result, I'm braking more often. I have to do that in order to get into the turns. So basically, with this car, it feels like, let's say, a professional runner who has been given a lot more to carry. As a result, yes, that professional runner is beating the regular person in running, but is not performing at the peak level because of the weight. The same thing happening here. The car is built like a sports car, but the weight of the car, the SUV side of it, is what is dragging it down. As a result, I cannot go into the turns as fast as I want to. Here I'm gonna try to again to catch up to the Miata, but I cannot even do that. Look, as you see, it just races away from me because in order to make it to the turns and not to hit the boards like I did right now, I need to slow down. And this hindrance of weight is going to be kind of a problem with this car all the time. It is possible to win races with this car, it's just that you have to be way more aggressive in shifting down and braking in order to do so. Otherwise you will be flying off the track easily, and if there are no boards, then well, there's no rescuing you completely at all. And in this final few turns I'm just kind of lifting off a bit just to make sure that I still have high RPMs to make it through the turn and I'm not losing too much of a speed. Now let's do a race that has longer straights and no boards to allow us to drive this car like an SUV. Central Woods West is perfect for this as it allows us to go off-road and onto the dirt.
Three, two, one.
And here I'm speeding up using no nitro at all, just the actual power of the engine. And then I'm using the weight of the car just to push aside the opponents so I can get through and get ahead of them. And now I'm going from the 7th here to the 8th. I'm gonna switch here. And now I'm completely leaving them behind. Here I have to drop down to the 7th. Here the opponents are gonna try to overtake me. As I'm going forward again, I'm gonna use this section of the road to show that I can drive on the dirt here because this is an SUV and this allows me not to slow down as much as I need to in order to get into the turns, because in order to do so I will have to drop a lot of speed. Here again, another turn, and here I do have to slow down because I cannot really cut through the ground here. I do try to cut through the ground here, but this weight of the car pushes me off the road, and so I do kind of lose a lot of speed. And here's the opponent just passes me here again, a few more turns, and I will be losing the lead that I have built up so far due to the fact that I have to slow down a lot in order to get into the turns properly, and opponents of course can beat me here. When I go on the straights, that's not an issue here. When I'm on the straights, I can really speed up here. And now again using the fact that I'm an SUV just to go through the dirt and in order to cut the corners here. And now I'm using nitro just to push myself ahead so I can get another bigger lead here. And then I'm gonna drop down from the 8th here to the 6th and go through, kind of do like a shortcut here, use the fact that again I'm an SUV, I can push through here. The nose of the car is not going to look pretty at this point, it's no longer does because I've knocked out quite a few things. Here the turn I did have to slow down and drop to the 6th here, but now I'm going to speed up to the 7th and just keep on going. Here next few turns I don't really have to stay on the road, I can knock down a few signs, go on the dirt and just keep on going this way, kind of cementing the lead that I have right now. I'm in the 8th now. It's all good, I'm going off-road, it is an SUV overall, and so I'm now going forward. A few more turns, I'm mostly lifting off here in order to just make it in the turn and then going forward, but in this turn that we just went through, it's too much of a turn, so I did have to shift down in order to make it into it and not to slide off completely from the road. Now I'm going to try to get to the 8th, but again another turn is coming up, I have to slow down, drop to the 6th in order to go through it. And now we're gonna start soon hearing and seeing the opponents as they're catching up to me, because now I'm in the 5th. I tried to get to the 6th, but I should actually drop down to the 5th again because of this turns here. And now we're coming up to the finish line, and what I'm doing, I'm using nitro now just to speed up and beat the opponent in order to finish first. Well, there you go. Again, with this car, the weight is a problem. The straights, perfect, no issues, but it is the turns where we have issues because the weight is not allowing us to go through the turns quickly enough. Well, now let's put this car into its natural habitat, the suburbs. Palmgate Suburbs race is exactly that, and a very difficult race for this car.
Three, two, one.
And here I'm not using nitro to speed up, not because I don't need it, but because I don't need to speed up at all here. There are going to be quite a few turns in this race, it's actually mostly turns, and therefore I don't have to speed up too much, I just need to stay on the road. And so I need to make sure that I'm staying at high RPMs in order to get as much grip with the road as possible. At the same time, I'm not flying off the road, I'm not letting anybody pass me and trying to make it ahead of the opponents here. There you go, you can see I was on the 6th gear, now I'm on the 5th. Going through all these turns, I should have dropped down to the 4th much earlier. As a result, I'm kind of not exactly on the road here, but again, this is an SUV, I can take down few fences, lampposts and so on, right? To the suburbs anyway. And we're back in the 6th and here, making this turn, trying to stay on the road, not to drift off. The weight of the car is a problem here, so I have to brake aggressively, I have to shift down aggressively, much more ahead of the turns than I would usually do with any other car. So here we go into the fifth in order to make it here smoothly, not to hit the buildings, not to hit some cars that are standing by, which will definitely just kind of ruin the whole race. It actually took quite a few attempts to kind of record this in a very much clean fashion. This is the cleanest kind of a race I could get. As you saw, I dropped down to the fourth, but now I'm going back to fifth and sixth, and again I'm speeding up here using nitro to build up a lead against opponents, because the only reason opponents are not passing me is because my whole car is sliding all over the road and kind of blocking them this way. And I'm not sliding intentionally, it's actually the artifact again of the weight of the car that just forces me to slide. So again, I drop down to the fifth here, we're going into this turns, I'm going in here, make it through, again, through this area, I'm gonna drop down to the fourth in order to make this turn, in order not to fly off completely, not to speed up, fifth, now we're going to the sixth gear here, and we're gonna try to press it here with nitro in order to go ahead and clear this area and get to the finish line as quickly as possible. Almost there. Few more turns, I'm still staying in the sixth and just kind of using the fact that the car is not gonna completely drift off the road, so I don't lose speed here. Few more turns again, I'm dropping to the fifth here and making it into this turns pretty cleanly now, because I'm going slowly here, almost there, almost at that neighborhood watch meeting, and here we go. Few more turns on the fourth now. I'm gonna speed up here again because we're almost at the finish line. Here it is, six. Now I'm just gonna gun it to the finish without any concern how I'm gonna do next few turns. Alright, so there it is. I would say it's one of the hardest races to do with this car because of the fact that the weight and the turns make it very difficult. So in conclusion, Maserati Levante Trofeo is a sports car that is burdened with SUV body and weight. On the straights where the engine is able to overcome the weight of the car, it is good, but on the turns the extra weight just makes it hard to handle and not to lose speed or races. So overall, I don't like 2021 Maserati Levante Trofeo in the Crew 2. And Maserati discontinued production of the car in 2024. I guess the market of people who like sports cars but have responsibilities, need to take kids to classes or go camping, and so need extra space in the car, that market was not deep enough. It's just often sports car enthusiasts just have a regular family car and a sports car. Thank you for watching and listening. If you like this video, please like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it, and please subscribe.